Hey, this is Joe with Hydra Racks, and in this video we're going to show you how to assemble one of our racks. First, begin by inspecting your order, ensuring that there is no damage and that you have all of the pieces that are on your invoice. We'll begin by assembling the wheel legs. In this clip we have a V-groove wheel, which is assembled by using the 3 1/4 inch by 1/2 inch bolt that will be included with your V-groove leg assembly. Insert the bolt with a washer on both sides, add the nut, and then tighten like shown. Next we'll show you how to assemble one of our fixed left to right rolling polyolefin wheels. We'll start by grabbing a 2 1/2 inch by 3/8 inch bolt. You'll insert it with a washer on both sides and tighten down just like you would with the V-groove wheel. And finally, we'll show you how to install one of our 360-degree swivel casters. The wheels themselves come pre-assembled, so all you'll need to do is screw the wheel into the wheel leg. You can adjust the height at which the wheel is inserted to level your rack. And now we'll begin to lay out the rack. Start by placing your end rails along with your side rails to form the general layout of your rack. Once you have your end rails and side rails placed, you can begin by placing the center braces in between the junctions. After placing all of your center braces, you can then start placing your crossbars. Once all of your crossbars are placed, you can then place your trellis arms on the outside of your rack assembly. Next, we'll begin to attach the crossbars to the side rails by using the 1 inch by 5/16 inch bolt and 5/16 inch washer, and we will loosely attach. Once all of your crossbars have been loosely attached, you can begin tightening the bolts down. Finally, using a wrench, adjust the crossbars to ensure that they are square with the rack assembly. This will guarantee that your tray will sit flush in the rack. Then continue this by loosely attaching the crossbars, then tightening and squaring for each section of the rack. At this point, quickly inspect your rack to make sure all of your crossbars are fully tightened down and squared to the rack assembly. Once you've ensured all of your crossbars are fully tightened to the rack, we'll begin by connecting two sections together using the center brace. Note that this particular junction does not have a wheel leg or trellis arm, so you'll only need the 1 inch by 5/16 inch bolt, washer, and nut. If you do have either a wheel leg or trellis arm at this junction, you would need the 2 inch by 5/16 inch bolt, and if you have both a wheel leg and trellis arm, you will need the 3 inch by 5/16 inch bolt. Continue by adding all of your bolts with washers on both sides and nuts, and then loosely attach, and then repeat on both sides. Now align the two sides and center brace to make sure that everything lines up flush, and then tighten the nuts down. Before attaching your trellis arm, it's important to make sure that your end rail is positioned correctly. It should form a square on all sides that will fully enclose the trellis arm once inserted. Once you've ensured that your end rail is positioned correctly, you can insert your trellis arm. Note that the fit is intentionally very tight to make sure that your trellis arm remains rigid. You may need an alignment tool to help you insert the bolts. Since this is a junction that includes both a trellis arm and wheel leg, we'll be using a 3" by 5/16" bolt with 5/16" washers and nuts. Insert all 4 bolts with washers without tightening down, and then repeat on the opposite side. Once all of your bolts have been inserted, you can begin to raise the rack using 2 jack stands to attach the wheel legs. The wheel legs have holes drilled 1 inch apart that we use to set the height of your rack. We recommend starting as high as you can to ensure your ability to slope the rack towards the drain end, as well as promote better airflow. Count the number of holes shown and make sure that it matches on both sides of the rack. Add the remaining washers and nuts on both sides and then fully tighten down. Now we'll move to the opposite end of the rack where we'll place our wheel legs for the drain end. Note that the wheels here are placed lower than they are on the opposite side to ensure that we can have proper drainage for our rack. We recommend lowering your rack by 1 inch for every 8 to 10 feet in length. Now that both ends of the racks are assembled, we can begin to attach the 2 halves. Raise the 2 halves using jack stands and then insert the center brace. Note we'll be using a 3" by 5/16" bolt and 5/16" washer here because this junction will include both a trellis arm and wheel leg. Once you have at least a few bolts inserted, you could then begin to attach your trellis arms. And then now you can attach your wheel legs. Make sure to set the height appropriately to guarantee that you have the slope needed for drainage. You can continue by adding all of the bolts, washers, and nuts, and then once all are in place, you can fully tighten the nuts down. Note that as an alternate to assembling your rack from the 2 ends and meeting in the middle, you can assemble your rack from left to right. This may be easier if you are working with a longer rack. Once the 2 halves are fully connected, inspect your rack to ensure that all junctions are tightly connected. Next, we'll show you how to attach the optional mounting brackets that you can use to either hang lights directly from your rack or from Unistrut. Add the bolts, washers, and nuts and tighten down. Thanks again, Carlos. You totally crushed it. And now your rack is fully assembled. Make sure to inspect that the rack is set at the correct height. Note the track here raises the rack an additional inch. Go around to each wheel leg and count the number of holes visible to ensure that they're set to the correct height, making sure that the far end, the drain end, is set at the lowest side of the rack, and then make sure all of the other components are fully tightened down. Once you've ensured that all the components are fully secure, fully tightened down, and the rack is properly assembled, give it a roll. And that's it. We hope that you enjoy your new rack, and we thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at our Instagram, and we hope that you have a great day.